There are so many great series out there. Some of them will be 5 stars for you and others won't. So today we're talking about those super overhyped books that I won't really recommend. You know, reading when you don't like what you're reading is pain. Continuing a saga because you believe something will happen afterwards, it's also pain. And I will try to avoid that to you for these books. And although this list was really tough to make, I believe that the one that you'll see in position number 5, you won't really be expecting this from me. And let's start with something really popular with Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I know.
But wait a second, is this the moment when you tell us that reading it's very subjective and that something that you don't like might be something that I do like?
Yes, this is that moment. If all of this stuff sounds good to you, go ahead and read it.
Okay, cool. I thought that you were just being a little bit mean, maybe?
No, it's not my intention. Actually, I just want to help. If you are as I am, or if we have similar tastes, maybe you will be benefit not reading these ones. This is super popular for a reason. It has great elements. It has a soft magic system, a character that evolves through time. It has different settings. It has dark academia, but it also has this journey. And overall, there's lots of people that really enjoys how everything is blended together. But for me, I did not like our main character, Kvothe. He is an unreliable narrator, and I think this will have an appeal for some people because you won't really know if what happened it's true or not. But to me, it just felt as if Kvothe was really full of himself, and although that's the whole point, I was like, I don't care. I don't believe that you are a hero, that you are this all-powerful creature. Just like, show me, don't tell me, show me. Also, I am tired of just waiting for this to be concluded. And we continue with something that went really viral, and that is the Atlas 6. This is a story that when I started reading it, I really fell for it. I was really hooked to the story, and overall I read it in such a short time. The thing is though, that the ending was really underwhelming, and as time has passed by, I just feel that I'm not really vibing with this. It has elements that in theory will really work for me. It has a character-driven side, but also there's a plot that moves pretty fast. The stakes are high. There's a soft magic system with these 6 different characters' points of view just telling us the story, and each of those characters has a different type of magic, which I thought was really fascinating in the beginning. And just knowing that this is a story where the characters will go into this school trying to learn more about their magic, but they will need to find and fight each other, was something that I was really into. But then the characters really quickly became something that I didn't like, so it's just a story that's probably not for me, although I've heard other people say the same. And we continue with something that it's very popular, but that at the same time it's fairly polarizing, and that is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. So this is a trilogy that either you love or you really don't care about, and I fell into that second bucket.
Although you can be persuaded very easily, so maybe if people say in the comments that you need to keep reading, maybe you will.
Yes, that is true. Let me know down below if I should be continuing with this series. And the main thing about this story is that we will be following a mother that is in the journey of finding her child, and along the way she will be derailed a little bit. She will find magic, and she will learn a little bit more about this earth that it's really collapsing. And you know, things that happened were fine, but how the story is narrated, how it is written, the blend between the character side and the plot side wasn't really for me. It wasn't really easy for me to connect with this mother. I was like, okay, this is fine, and that is such a shame. And therefore I ended this book, which was like supposedly a good moment to pick book 2, and I was like, meh. I'm not probably gonna pick the following one. And I never did. And then we continue with The Witcher. After the Netflix adaptation, I was like really thrilled to know more about this world, and it just felt as this James Bond of fantasy. It seemed like something that I would really like when I wanted something full of adventure. And yes, it has that. We will mainly follow the story of Geralt as he basically kills lots of different creatures, but it just felt really bland to me. This is a collection of short stories, so the first thing that I was looking for was a comprehensive narration with a deep story, with an arc of our characters, and this wasn't it. But even after knowing that, I just felt that Geralt, everything was easy for him. He is this kind of guy that will kill everyone. It felt very cliche at times.
Tell them that you did the unspeakable and you went to Wikipedia to find the answer to the whole story.
Yes, I did that. I now know what happens, but not because I read these books, but because I found the answers elsewhere. And now let's go for something that I don't really believe that you will be expecting, and that is Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. So, I really liked this first book, although it's chunky, but the second book... I know that I might eventually get to read book 3 because Sarah J. Maas is pulling these Brandon Sanderson vibe, and she wants to create this world where the stories get more complex, and there are threads that are intertwined between different things, but it just feels as reading hundreds of pages of nothing. This is an urban fantasy that will mainly follow one point of view of our girl Bryce, and she is like a complex human. And first book, it's really great because it has a mystery, a thriller at its core. Meanwhile, our character will need to redeem herself a little bit and know more about her, but the second book tries to replicate stuff that happens in the first book, but it just feels as really nothing happened, or that the plot itself was meaningless. And I cannot really recommend this unless you really enjoy either Sarah J. Maas or fantasy romance. Then maybe yes, just read it, because it's something that it's a comfort read, but really to me it's the worst thing that this author has made. And now we continue with another very popular author, which is Holly Black. In this case, I won't be continuing nor recommending that much the Book of Night. This started as something really promising. It was her adult fantasy debut, and it has shadow magic, which it's something that it's starting to be a little bit more frequent, but it's not that popular, and it was divided in different types. You can do different things, and our character is a misfit, and she needs to rearrange her life because she is trying to lay low. She is running from some things that she did in the past, but her past just caught up with her. There's nothing wrong with how all of this sounds, right? But at the same time, the magic, it's not enough. There's just some threads of the story going there, but it's just not a lot of shadow magic. So at its essence, it's just an urban story, and I didn't really like our main character. I was having lots of trouble to connect with her because, again, she made decisions that were really not down my alley. And I can love books where I don't connect with the main character, such as The Poppy War, but in this case the pace felt also fairly slow and the stakes weren't really that high. So overall, this felt as a very average, sadly, book to me. And let's move now to The First Law by Joe Abercrombie. I've just read the first one, The Blade Itself, and this is 100% a me thing, but I'm not as used to read grimdark, so it might be that, but I don't believe it's that the case, because I really enjoyed one of the 3 points of view that we will have here, in essence, Glokta. So in this world, it seems that something might be emerging. We'll have these 3 different points of view that will just going throughout this land. And there was nothing wrong with this story, but I just couldn't care for 2 of the 3 points of view here. And also the pacing and how this story was written. It's every time, every chapter, it seems like something really great was gonna happen, but then it just didn't.
So then you can say that it was narrated as something that is supposed to be big, but then focused on the small details?
Yes, basically I felt that way. And let's continue now with the Dresden Files. So I've just read the first one, Stormfront, and I've been told that lots of stuff change from the first book to the later books, but I'm not sure if I have the time to just read all of these books until I'm finally finding Harry a good character. He is the one that will solve cases that are entwined with magic, which sounds something that I really, really liked, but it felt really predictable to me. And also the way in which Harry Dresden thought, how he communicated, and the dynamics that he had with the female characters in this book felt really a little bit problematic to me. And yeah, there were some funny moments, and it is a palate cleanser because it was so quick and short, but it just felt very predictable. It's something that it can even be shorter. And now let's have Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan. This is a favorite of Jessie May, and I usually really like her recommendations, and this one I just couldn't care less for the characters. This is probably one of the few books that I've DNF'd in my whole life. So maybe if you tell me to continue, to give it a second chance, I will. I just felt that lots of good stuff could happen, but it didn't. I just couldn't care for the characters. Terrible things happened to them, but they don't really react to that stuff. And I was just reading something as feeling completely disconnected with this story. And last, we have the Farseer Trilogy, but also the Towny Man Trilogy by Robin Hobb. So I've tried the Assassin Apprentice, and I was like, this character, it's probably very unfortunate and lots of bad stuff happened to him. And yes, the characterization, it's very well done, and I really praise how she created these characters, are really nuanced, but it just felt as if I was reading pages and pages and pages and nothing really happened. And then the same thing happened with the Towny Man Trilogy. I couldn't connect still with whatever was happening, and it is so slow, so descriptive, and it is so dark. Not in a sense that it's savage, but in a sense that it's really pessimistic. And that can again be a me thing, because I tend to want things that are, or at least have some hope. I will still give a chance to the Live Ship Trilogy, because I really believe that it's different and that it's more adventurous and that will have the right amount of magic, and that will be a hit for me. Also, just expectations wise, the Assassin's Apprentice, it's not much around being an assassin and more of being just a servant. And these are 10 really popular books that I won't really be recommending. Let me know down below what are yours, if you matched or not with what I said.